5, 4. The video out towarded YouTube book.
If you want to get straight to the content, just about the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, about 10 minutes into the
Things that ask clients, he was in our YouTube of our And if for you it's like torture and you can't stand it, it's not going to be worth that patient time of building it out and growing. You want to have fun. You want to have joy in that process. So that's where we're going to give you a lot of those best practices. We're here to, help troubleshoot with you. So that every step is so much more of a joyous process, as well as more effective, so that you're saving time, you're saving that trial and error. A lot of people, it really can take, this is what the statistics show. It takes about 100 videos, 100, for you to really dial in a sweet spot for, a live stream show, for a channel, and so forth. So by working with us, we can really help get that 100 videos faster, so that you're kind of getting through all of those learning pains earlier on. Are we on?
I think that we're on. Are you guys? It's looking pretty good. Let's even try some fun stuff. Whoa, second camera. What do you guys think? Is that pretty good? Is that working? Hopefully we're back. Give me some comments now if we're back, guys. Can you for Teresa for carrying the show for the first 10 minutes? Like that was incredible. So Reagan V Films is saying that it's a little laggy now, but it's looking pretty good. So why don't we just do a quick reset and we'll start the show again right from the top. I'm hearing that the audio is cutting in a little bit, but you know what? Like let's get through the show and let's see what we can make happen. Remember, using the Facebook and the YouTube, using Facebook and YouTube, we could trim out the beginning of this. And so hopefully whoever saw that beginning clip just kind of skipped through it right in the very beginning.
Our amazing viewers that are watching with us live.
And I see that we have our guest already in the chat. And so we might just kind of like, bring her on a little bit sooner than we had anticipated to tell some of her live streaming stories. So if you guys are okay, even if it is a little bit choppy, we're going to just jump right back in to I'm hearing there's just like a lot of skipping still. There's just a lot of problems still, but I'll tell you, we're here and we're live. So maybe we could just try it and we could see, what might work. In fact, maybe we'll just keep playing since I do have all kind of like maybe if we just switch off of the vMix.
You can just go straight to Restream.
And we go, if we just go straight from the camera, and that way we're not worrying about switching too much, then maybe we can, so we're just like simplifying our stream a little bit here. Okay. So I think we should just get into the content.
All right.
Let's go. Oh my gosh. And then did you guys see? You guys haven't even seen the screen gone off yet. Jeez Louise. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, here we go. All right. So, welcome to the brand new show, The Business of Live Video, where everything goes wrong in the first 30 seconds.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's start the show again. I'll go ahead and do it in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Business of Live Video podcast, where today we're going to be talking about live streaming strategy for real estate agents. And we're going to approach the problem of how to balance live streaming with your already busy work schedule, what you should be saying in your live streams. We're going to be sharing with you some real case studies and showing you what actually works in this marketplace.
Exactly. So if you are watching this on the replay and you want to get straight to that and skip some of the live content, you want to skip to about that 10-minute mark. That's usually when we get started.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we don't need to say that anymore because we're just starting the show. So why don't we do that?
Let's talk about
No, let's do it one more time. Oh, I hope you guys see like the thing. Okay. We're going right into the show at this point. Okay. So let's get the ROS right here. All right.
All right.
Oh, dear Lord. Dear Lord. Okay. 3, 2. Welcome back to the Business of Live Video podcast, where today we're going to talk about live streaming strategy for real estate agents. And we're going to talk about some of the big problems that you would need to overcome in the industry, like how to balance your live stream with your already busy work schedule. We're going to talk about what content you should make so that people are interested in the videos you're making. And we're going to talk about what type of tech you need. So I'm super glad that you're here. My name is Owen Video.
And I'm Teresa.
And we're going to introduce to you one of our clients, the fabulous, the wonderful, the brilliant Karin Carr, who is a real estate agent and is a live streamer. Karin, great to have you on the show today.
Well, thank you for having me. Very exciting.
Talk to us a little bit about how you use live streaming as an agent.
I didn't really use it a lot as a real estate agent until recently. I teach real estate agents as well, and I was using a lot of live streaming for that. And then one day we make a video for my real estate channel once or twice a week, and we were just running behind. And I said, you know what? We don't have time to get a video up this week. Let's go live. What's the worst that could happen? And none of us had ever done it before on our channel. And everything that could go wrong did go wrong. So It's great to see professional live streamers who have tech challenges like us normal people do too.
Yeah.
There's always something, right? There's always something. And I don't think that, like, what's the worst that can happen is they're watching and they go, oh, they're having all these technical difficulties, and maybe they leave and they go watch something else. But I think most of the people just think, oh, this is kind of fun to see, like, all of these tech challenges that go on behind the scenes that maybe we didn't really know about. They feel like they're getting a little sneak peek into the backside of the business. So when we went live, we were talking about what the real estate market is doing. The real estate market has gone insane in the last 12 months. And I'm sure your viewers are all over the country, if not all over the world. And every single real estate agent in the entire United States and Canada that I personally know they're all saying the same thing, that the market exploded as of late spring, early summer last year. So in the past 12 months, house prices have gone through the roof. Demand has gone through the roof, multiple offers, tons of buyers competing for the same few houses that are available. We're all seeing the same thing. So we decided we were going to go live to try to educate our clients. If you come along and this house is listed at $300,000 and you think you're going to get it for $290,000, no, that's not happening. So we were trying to have a little bit of a come to Jesus moment with the clients of, if you want to buy in this market, this is what it's going to require of you. And we were trying to have some real straight talk with these people so that they had realistic expectations. And we did not have a lot of people on live with us. The very first time we did it, I think we had 17 live people. Yeah. However, they were in the comments going, I'm thinking about moving to Savannah. I'm going to buy a house when I get there. I live in Brazil and I've been following your channel for 6 months. I can't wait until I move there. It was really cool that we had honest to goodness live prospects who were on live with us. Even though it was a small crowd, they were very engaged. They were in the comments. They were leaving good comments, giving us feedback, asking us questions. It was really cool. So then we did it a few weeks later in a different city. So instead of Savannah, we did it about Augusta, which is a couple hours away from us. And then we did another one about Hilton Head, South Carolina. So we were talking about these different areas that we service, speaking directly to the people who want to do a real estate transaction in those various areas. And it was a lot of fun, but mostly for me, it was just, I didn't have to record anything ahead of time. I didn't have to send it to the editor. I didn't have to write a whole big outline. It was very much fly by the seat of your pants and let's just see where this conversation goes. And based on the questions that we get, that's what we'll talk about. And on the one hand, you feel totally unprepared because you just don't know. Maybe nobody will show up. Maybe there'll be one guy there and you're like, okay, so Todd, let me ask you another question. Like, what's going to happen? You just don't know. But then the more you do it, the more comfortable you get doing it and the bigger the audience becomes over time. And now we're trying to make this a pretty regular occurrence where we're doing it more than just, oh, we had to because we were running late on our pre-recorded video.
Yeah. Or we had no leads coming in.
Right.
You know? Like, oh, it just the well had run dry. And so we need to put something together to get leads in the business, which is understandable, right? Because new business is the lifeblood of any business. But that's a great segue for us to kind of talk about some of the big pillars that make live streaming effective, right? Like you could go live and talk to 17 people and actually get some inquisitive buyers. But then the other agent could go live, get 4 viewers, and they all make fun of him on the way out. You know what I mean? Now, we've had success with some of our clients following a formula that is a 4-part formula that focuses on the type of content that you're making. So that's a big question that we want to answer today is what type of content really works well for an agent to get more of that buyer, that seller attention, but then also having the technology question under control. So maybe we could start there with your experience, some of the agents that you are working with. What type of content, what type of what we call programming strategy works well on live stream? Is it market updates in Dallas, or is it the sort of the gated community expo? Like, what have you seen work, and what would you recommend for agents out there today?
Truthfully, the only thing that we as a channel have done on ours were market update videos. And it's just because the market is changing so rapidly, so with such regularity, it felt like it was very timely. So if we were to go live, that is something that is absolutely relevant in this exact moment with up to the date, up to the minute live information. That's the only thing that we've done on the real estate channel. As I said, I have a different real estate channel that is for agents. They are a lot more of, like, I went live talking about the video editing program that I like to use. We had 8,000 views within a couple of weeks. It was crazy. I had no idea so many people would want to learn about this editing program. So of course, I made sure to put my affiliate link in the description box below. Thank you very much for everybody that signed up for WeVideo because you watched my live stream. That was awesome. So it's kind of like the content that I've done on the 2 different channels have very different strategies.
Yeah. Now, are you live streaming on the Georgia Real Estate channel?
We've only done it 3 or 4 times so far.
Okay.
But it makes sense because, if you plan a pre-recorded market update and you have to go and get it edited and all that, within a week, and everything's changing so fast, it might not even be relevant anymore, and you have to just scrap it. So it makes more sense with market updates specifically that would be one that you do live.
Now we had a particular client testimony or a client success story with a live market update going live. The video itself had no live viewers. To this day, only has about 300 to 500 views, but he sold 2 houses, just from that live stream alone. And so having a strong content strategy, I think, is a big part of the being successful on a live stream and knowing what you're going to do before you go live. Karin, when you are coaching an agent or even live streaming yourself, what are some of the content memory jogs or the content hacks that you use to help you come up with good topics to go live about or to make videos about?
I 100% agree. You need to have some sort of outline because the next thing you know, you get distracted because your kid walked in from school in the middle of your live stream. And then it's like, oh, I don't even remember what I was talking about. So having this ROS, like you talk about, where we've got a list of, this is going to be how I open it. This is going to be my little branding intro. This is what I'm going to say to create community. And then we're going to move into the topic of the day. And I want to talk about X, Y, and Z, and just constantly having that front and center so that if you do go off on a tangent, you can get back to the topic at hand and not be like, I have no idea what I was talking about or where to go from here, because that's very easy to do. I did not have any sort of background in live streaming. I've been doing video for years, but when you're pre-recording your video home alone without an audience, it's a very different thing than being live. And then when you start to see 28 people are watching right now, sometimes that just... and you freeze and you become a deer in the headlight because you think, I don't know what to say next. And I've got this big audience watching live right now. So having that outline in front of you is a very wonderful thing.
And on the flip side, when you are starting out and you only have maybe 5 viewers and only one person asked that question, and you have a section of your live where you've opened it up to, Q&A, Owen, I know that you've often taught to have some questions kind of pre-planned ahead of time in case you're not getting enough from the audience. You can have some common ones that you've had, before, just from talking with clients.
I think that's a really important point. Is having some pre-written questions out, because the idea is your audience might be willing to ask questions, but they might also be driving, or they might also be working on a proposal. or something else where they're just kind of listening to you off to the side, and they're not really in a place where like, oh, hey, Karin, like, like, how do I get the thing? Da da da. But if you have 5 to 10 pre-written questions for every episode that you do, then you can always go into, now these are the top 10 questions that I get on this topic. Question number 1 is, which I think helps the audience get answers to questions they didn't know that they needed, but also fills up time, and kind of makes the show a little bit lengthier.
And I think it can fuel questions, because sometimes people just need to hear questions for them to decide even what they want to ask. They need to hear the answers to some of the previous questions.
Yeah, what's kind of a good question, Karin? Let's talk a little bit about your show flow, or what we call a run of show. So we've talked a little bit about knowing for sure what your content is going to be, right? Like market updates, or are you doing, listing videos? Have a good idea of what it is you're going to build expertise in. And then when you go live, we've talked about sort of having a step-by-step of first I'm going to say this, then I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to do Q&A and so on and so forth. Karin, walk us through a little bit of your process and how you start your video, where you move after that, and your run of show.
Well, I want to say that I am by no means the live stream expert, so take that with a grain of salt. I typically try to I've been on a million live streams as the viewer where it's clear the person pressed go live and had no idea what they're going to talk about. And it makes it really hard for you to want to stick around and watch. Like, it's like if you went fishing and you pulled a fish out of the water and you just left it flopping on the sidewalk as it's gasping for air. Like, that's how I feel watching this poor person on screen. So I try to think about, what is the first thing I'm going to say as soon as the camera goes live? What am I going to say that makes people want to stick around and watch this for a while? And having this entire, not scripted out, like I don't plan word for word what I'm going to say. It's a rough outline just to keep me on track. And then remembering asking for engagement, because I tend to get all caught up in what I'm talking about, and I completely forget to ask for people to really go into the comments and comment and say things to create an actual dialogue. So I have to write that down for myself. Like, ask for engagement, ask them to say something in the comments, ask them a question, which they will then respond to. And then as I'm wrapping it up toward the end, I just try to think of what's a really good call to action. What do I want them to do next? Because we know darn well that the majority of views are going to come from the replay. It's just like you said, Teresa, like somebody is on live and they have 0 viewers on live, but then later when they get all of the extra views, they turn around and sell a bunch of houses. That could very well happen. You might have nobody on live with you, but you have to talk as though you think people are actually there, because otherwise it's just so awkward for the viewer that you're stalling, trying to wait for people to come on. So speak as though, even if nobody's there, that there are people there, because when people are watching the replay, it's not going to seem so forced and awkward for them. And then what do you want them to do? When you're wrapping up at the end, imagine that you're in the end screen, that final 20 seconds. If you're on a YouTube live stream, for example, what do you want them to watch next?
That's good.
Why? Like, tell them what you want them to do. Do you want them to go to your website? Do you want them to join a Facebook group? Do you want them to watch another video? Tell them what you want them to do, and have some sort of like primal branding elements where you've got a little, phrase that you're going to use on every single video and sign off that way. But I feel like it can be very casual as long as you're following. There's a flow to the live stream, so it doesn't seem haphazard and you feel like you knew what you were going to talk about, even though it's much less formal than a pre-recorded video.
Now, what kind of CTA, you mentioned a couple, but what helps you determine what CTAs you want to actually use?
Well, it kind of depends. Is this a video that I'm it's a brand new viewer who's never been to my channel before. I typically do most of my live streams on YouTube. So if they're new to the channel, I want to get them to watch another video. I want them to go down the rabbit hole and consume my content and start to get to know me and decide if they want to follow me and hit the subscribe button and all of the things. If I want them to get into my database so I can follow up with them, I'm going to offer them some sort of lead magnet. Go to my website, download this free guide, this free checklist, this free whatever it is, so that when they opt in, they go into my database. I can then follow up with them in the future, hopefully get them to work with me privately or in a group coaching situation, something like that. Same thing if it's for the real estate channel. Do I want them to just become aware of my business and start following us? Or do I want them to get into my database so that I can call them and say, hey, are you thinking about selling your house? Let's chat. And so I always like to offer them some sort of downloadable thing. I feel like that is much more of an even exchange of value than just saying, hey, if you know anybody that wants to buy or sell a house, call me. I'm your girl. But if I say, I've got this awesome cheat sheet that will help you get your house ready for the market, go download it right now. If they want it, they're going to give me their valid phone number and their valid email address. And I'd say 80% of the time we get, if not more, valid contact information. Because if they don't want to give me their email address and to get that thing, they're just not going to fill out the form. If they put in a bad email address, they're not going to get the thing. So they just don't fill it out at all.
That's good. Now, are you coming up with a different downloadable thing for every live stream or multiple live streams? You know, because I feel like that's, talk to us a little bit about that part of the process. Do I need to come up with a lot of things or have one good thing?
I would say have one or maybe two good things for each type of client that you want to do business with. So maybe something for a first-time buyer and something for a buyer who is relocating to your area, who doesn't know anything about where you live now. Then if you're trying to get sellers, maybe it is something about pricing the house, maybe something about getting the house ready for the market. If you are working with investors, it would be something like get a secret list of off-market properties that nobody else knows about. So you don't need a bazillion of these. Maybe like one for buyers, one for sellers, one for investors, maybe one for renters. And that's it. And you just recycle them over and over again. And then if you get tired of it after a year, make something new.
And update it, right? Like, you know, the update to the 2020 sort of off-market list or whatever the case might be. I don't think it needs to be something that is constantly new and constantly keeping you at your desk and constantly keeping you, you know, on Fiverr looking for a PDF maker. You know, one good thing and really like juice it up a little bit. You know, this is the thing that I see with the agents that come into our program, and they sort of have this like, you know, it's like a let me evaluate your home, you know, kind of thing.
Free evaluation.
You know, I will give you a free evaluation of your home value, and it's like I got 17 emails today that are offering me free, you know, home valuations.
And I hate to break it to you, but there's this thing called Zillow where people can get that for free without having a real estate agent contact them. They don't need us for that anymore. I mean, yes, the Zestimate is completely inaccurate, but they don't know that it's inaccurate, and they would rather just fill that out and not have to talk to a salesperson, quite frankly. We need to show them we bring more to the table than just telling them what their house price is.
You know what? I feel you're exactly right, because this is what has given rise to sort of the anti-real estate movement, right? Like, I don't need an agent. I just need, you know, homie. I don't need an agent. I need this or that. These other, like, where you're still paying someone else for an agent. You're just paying less and you're getting less service. But making your value known into the marketplace by way of some type of free guide or downloadable guide that connects people to you for something other than I need to buy a house right now. So that's really good. Now, you had mentioned something else that I want to come back to because it was really, really brilliant. And we believe in this strongly, which is you said primal branding elements. And for those of you guys that don't know, there's a book called Primal Branding, and Patrick Hanlon wrote this book. And he talks about how you've really got to like connect your tribe to you. And there's ways of doing that by having some of like what we call sort of like your own shtick, or it's kind of like an old school word, but your own thing. Like I usually open up the show when it's not completely catastrophic by saying like, hey, everybody give me air 5, you know, flop. And people know when they see me that we do the air 5 kind of thing. But there's also sort of like being, I hate to say like you're Patrick talks about this in the book, but you have to be against something. Like for us, we're against the easy way out. We're against the easy button. We're all about like making a big impact, authentically, right? With with your true self. Talk a little bit about how you incorporate primal branding elements into your life, not just your life, but all of your videos. What does that look like? What does that feel like as a professional agent?
Yeah, as on my channel where I'm talking to agents, I find that a lot simpler to do. We're still working on it for our real estate channel of how can we incorporate those primal branding elements, but on our agent channel, I put my foot down. I am very staunchly against buying leads from places like Zillow and realtor.com. I feel like we are training the consumer to expect that we are the necessary evil that they have to go through in order to get the thing that they want, which is the house. They would choose not to work with us if they didn't have to, but we are the gatekeeper. We are the door opener. And the only thing that we bring to the table is opening the door and how fast can you get there? And if you can't do it in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to go find somebody else that can. And so when we keep as an industry buying leads from these sources, we are continuing to perpetuate this myth that we really don't do anything except unlock the front door, right? I mean, we're all interchangeable. We do the same thing. And so my sign off is friends don't let friends cold call. And I try to incorporate that in every single video that I make now. Remember, friends don't let friends cold call. And trying to do this because I love Primal Branding. It's a brilliant book where he talks about we've got to have what you stand for, who is your tribe, what binds you together that you and your community can all rally around together. And then what are the things that you are against, and you put your foot down, and you're going to repel a lot of people who say, I make so much money buying leads from Zillow, I'll never stop. Okay, great. You're not my people. Like, you do not need to be watching this channel. You don't need to be part of the tribe. I wish you the best of luck, but I'm not the person for you. And then trying to figure out how can we incorporate that into the Georgia Coast Homes channel. So we talk about our area of expertise is helping people that are relocating into our area from somewhere else. So we say, on this channel, we teach you everything you need to know about moving to Savannah or moving to Hilton Head or moving to Augusta. And so we're trying to tell people right away who this channel is for, what kind of content we're going to be putting out specifically for those people. And we love our area, and this is why we want to share it with the world. And then I'm still trying to come up with what would a really good tagline be, like a sign off be that we could use for that channel. We haven't discovered one yet. We've been playing around with different things, but we haven't picked one yet. So we're still working on it.
I love that you said discover, because you kind of let things roll off, the tongue, and see how it felt. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you kind of keep what works, right? And it might even and change over time. And so finding those sign-ons and those sign-offs, I think, are all really, really great to do in the beginning of your live stream show.
So tell us about, how you've used tech over the years. I mean, you said you've been doing video for a while. Now you're, jumping into live streaming, you're bringing that more into it. Are you using mobile? Are you using desktop? Are you, using microphones? What are you using tech-wise to really be able to present yourself professionally, but maybe not necessarily going over the top, or maybe you do? Tell us about that.
Yeah. It definitely evolved over time. At the very beginning, I was just using my iPhone or my iPad. That was my sole camera. I think I had a $12 microphone that plugged into the headphones jack, and it was a lavalier mic that just, clipped onto my lapel. And as you get more comfortable, and quite honestly, as you start attracting paying clients, where you go to the closing table and you get a big fat commission check, you say, okay, honey, I would like to go buy this nice big fancy Rode desktop microphone. How about you give that to me for my anniversary? That'd be an awesome present. And so it has evolved over time. And yes, it's absolutely what happened. We were in lockdown last year during our anniversary, and my husband said, we can't go anywhere. We can't do anything. What would you like for a present? And I said, I want a really good podcasting microphone, because I'm now doing all of my live streams from this room right here. So it literally is, I have a DSLR camera. It's a very entry-level DSLR camera. It was not super expensive at all. plugs into the back of my computer with a USB cable. And then I have this microphone right here, which is, it's like on a little boom arm that clamps onto the back end of my desk. And that's pretty much it, except for a couple of lights. And, I got some lights back there behind my bookshelf just to make it look pretty in the background. But it's pretty simple, I have to say.
Start there, correct? Like you're there because you're close to 10,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel. That's one of your YouTube channels. I think you have something like 6,500 subscribers on the other one, but it didn't start that in that place, right?
No.
Right. You build onto it. Talk a little bit about the building process and what you get first and what you can get last, that sort of thing.
I started with my iPhone, and my first purchase was a very inexpensive microphone, because if the phone is on, I mean, even if you don't have a tripod, you just have it on your bookcase. If it's, 4 feet, 5 feet away, you're shouting to be heard, and it sounds terrible. And we had hardwood floors and high ceilings, and it was very echoey, and it just sounded really bad. So I did buy a microphone. That was the first thing that I bought. And then I bought a couple of lights, because my windows are on the side of the room. So if all of the light is coming from one side, it tends to look weird. What if you wanted to film after the kids go to bed and it's dark outside? Now it's really dark in your room. So I got like 2 soft boxes for $50 and my $12 microphone. And that's all I had for a very long time. And and nobody ever said, I almost hired you as my agent, but I felt that your audio quality was lacking. And I went with somebody that spent $300 on a Rode microphone. Like, nobody ever said that. So I don't know.
Going out of this. Leave my microphone out of this, Karin. How dare you? No,
I mean, now I have a nice microphone, but at the beginning, nobody cares. As long as they can hear you clearly and they can see you clearly and your personality is coming across and you're delivering good information, I don't think they really judge us so much on the professionalism of the video itself. They want to know, what can you do for me? How can you solve my problems? How can you make my life easier? And then as you start doing more and more and more, and you're making more money because you're getting more clients, if you want to upgrade your equipment, go for it. But this is a 4-year process. This did not happen overnight. I mean, I moved in November. This room was beige when I got my house. It was hideous. It was skin color. So me standing against this wall, it was like one big washed out, just flesh color. It was awful.
It was like a
it was so bad. I showed you I was like, what color should I paint this office? Because this is not flattering at all. So I ended up painting it navy blue, because I kept watching YouTube channels and I would take a screenshot every time I saw somebody's set that I loved. And after I sat down and I looked at all of these screenshots that I had taken, they were all dark. They were either black or dark gray or dark blue, and they had funky lighting. And I thought, well, okay, if I'm going to paint my office, I'm just going to paint it dark blue. And what's the worst that can happen is it looks terrible and I paint it something different a month later. But it was easy.
And step by step, and going through your process with you, Karin is someone that I've worked with in the past, and we had a conversation back and forth. What should I put here? What color should I use here? We talked about the couches, the style of couches. These are all things that mattered because we had already built the audience. There was already an audience there tuning into the live streams. And if you don't have a live stream yet, want to say what's up to my man Ryan over at Spyglass Realty. So good to see you guys there. Elaine Justice, Carlos Cepeda, Christina Smallhorn, Harley is here, Chris is here. Urban Explorer is here. So glad to see all you guys out there. You do it. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope we're providing you with a ton of content today. But building the audience, let's talk a little bit about that, because there's sort of like pre-promotion, but then there's also the art of choosing a title, right? And some of the optimization tactics that on YouTube to get the video found. But then you've got post-promotion as well. What insights can you offer to us in terms of building up that audience initially so that you're not live streaming with that big fat red 0 in front of you?
Yeah, that was my biggest fear. I was going to go live and there would literally be nobody there. So the first thing I think that really helps us is that we publish a video every single Monday at 9 a.m. that's it. So our audience comes to expect that our videos are going to drop Monday morning at 9 a.m. and they have for years. So that helped us a bunch. And I knew that if we went live Monday morning at 9 a.m., all of our subscribers that are opting in for the little bell to get notified are going to be told, hey, they're going live right now. And that made me feel better for the very first time that we were going to go live, as I thought at least a handful of people will be there because we drop our video at the same time every single week. So there was that. When I knew that that was what we were going to do, we were going to go live instead of a pre-recorded video, we emailed our whole database. So we've got thousands of people in our database, and we just sent an email out, said, hey, guess what? We're going to do our first ever live stream Monday morning at 9 a.m. Here is the link. Come and join us. And I had a bunch of realtors that attended, and I was fine with that because, hey, they may not buy a house, but at least we're not sitting here with a big 0 in front of us. And they were helping us, and they were talking in the comments and getting the conversation going. And then as real live prospects started joining as well, now it looked like we had a bunch more people in the chat, even though it was very small. Like I said, I think it was 17 or something that time. And then we sent the replay out as well. So we said we shared it on Facebook and we shared it on Instagram, and we just tried to get as much mileage out of it as we could.
Is that like I'm sorry, baby, I don't mean to keep cutting you off. If I was, but do you do that all at once, or do you spread that out over the course of like 7 to 10 days?
We sent the email blast to our database probably 3 days in advance so that they would have enough advance notice that hopefully they would attend. And then the replay, I think we probably did it the day after. We didn't do it all immediately. Like we tried to drip it out over a few days so that we could get as much mileage out of it as we could.
Yeah. And like give yourself some breathing room, right? Like that is a lot of energy. And a lot of the same people that follow you on Instagram follow you on Facebook, and you almost kind of bombard them too of like, I'm doing this live stream, I'm doing this live, doing this. Like, I heard it already. You know, like I saw you. It's just giving them room to breathe a little bit.
But then moving over to YouTube, which, you know, you said is one of your favorite platforms with it, and you know that you're going to get these replay viewers who may or may not be in your database. Do you do anything title-wise, thumbnail-wise to try to get more people to come and visit the live video after it's already gone live?
Yeah, absolutely. I will say that coming up with an amazing title is not one of my God-given talents. And so that is something that I'm always working to improve. And we will sit there and brainstorm and try to come up with what is a really good title. I finally stopped making my own thumbnails. I got the message loud and clear, Mr. Owen, that I was not the world's best graphic designer. And we started having people make thumbnails for us. So yes, we would try a different thumbnail, and, you know, we can evaluate it. And after it's been up for a little while, if it's just not really performing the way it should, we can change the title. We can change the thumbnail. It's nothing is set in stone except the actual recording itself. Everything else is changeable. When TubeBuddy came out with that SEO studio where you can put in all of your stuff and it will optimize it for you, I love that thing. So we make sure that we just have it as optimized as we possibly can, along with hopefully a very compelling title and a good looking thumbnail, that we're going to attract the people that want to do business in our market. When we go live, I don't expect that I'm going to have people all over the world watching this video, and I'm fine with that. I don't need that. I'm looking for the people that want to buy a house in Savannah or sell their house in Savannah. We're trying to attract a very hyper local audience. So we may not get millions and millions and millions of views, and that's perfectly fine, because just like you said, the guy that had 0 people on live but has sold a couple of houses as a result of the replays, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the people that want to buy or sell a house, and they don't have a real estate agent, and they need one, and they find us and they hire us.
Really good. Really good. All right.
My question would be, when, you know, you talked about how you can always change the title, you can always change the thumbnail. What do you typically look at to help you decide if that's even something that you need to do? And what kind of results have you seen when you have made those types of changes?
So like your analytics, like how do you know if the title works or doesn't work? And what other stats are you looking at to say this was successful or unsuccessful?
Right.
I'm looking at my impressions versus my click-through rate. So
Okay, interesting.
is YouTube algorithm putting it out there in front of a lot of people? And then of those people, how many of them are clicking on it? And if the click-through rate is super, super low, we go usually change the thumbnail. Or I love doing split testing. Ever since I learned that you could split test thumbnails and split test titles, we do that a lot. So there's one, this was not a live stream, but it was such a great experiment. I did a video called 7 Reasons You Will Hate Living in Savannah. That was what I thought was a great title. I was 100% convinced that was an amazing title. And we did a split test against do not go to Savannah without knowing these 7 things, which to me was not nearly as good of a title. And after we did our split test using TubeBuddy, the do not go to Savannah one outperformed 3-1 as far as impressions, as far as how much it was showing up in suggested, how much it was showing up in search, the click-through rate, the average view duration, like everything was 3 times better with that title than with the original title, which I was convinced was the greatest title I'd ever come up with. So once I did the split test, it's like, holy cow, okay, no brainer, changing the title right now. And I'll also do that with thumbnails. Is my face on the thumbnail or is my picture not on the thumbnail? It kills my ego to say that half the time the thumbnail performs much better if my face is not on it. So I'm okay. I will take my face off the thumbnail if it's going to get a lot more clicks, because the once they click on the video, they're going to see my face. I don't have to have it on the thumbnail too. I just want the views, because they can't ever hire me if they don't even watch the video and know who I am in the first place.
Let's talk about the views, because like you, I'm a big YouTube advocate. I believe that YouTube is the future of business, and it really kind of has been the present of business really for the last year and a half, with everyone on the sort of the lockdown virtual world scenario. But not a lot of real estate agents know how to really leverage that power, and that's why we teach it. But YouTube views a view as 30 seconds or a user-initiated click. Not only that, the YouTube viewer is going to YouTube for one thing, and that's to watch video. There's nothing else you can do on YouTube, right? Except for watch videos. Versus Facebook, which can offer a sort of like addictive quality, because a view is 3 seconds on Facebook, which inflates your views and inflates your ego and makes you go, I'm going to keep going on Facebook so I get those views and I feel really good about myself. But really what you're getting is your aunt and your uncles watching you for 3 seconds and then moving on. How do you reconcile spending time on those platforms? Like where do you do stuff on Facebook versus YouTube? And do you alter your content differently for the different platforms?
Very good questions. I agree with you 100%. On Facebook, when they're counting it as a view after 3 seconds, here's what typically happened. They're scrolling mindlessly. Your video pops up. And they're like, what? It's under the kitchen sink. It's the same place. I always keep it. Yes, it's under the kitchen sink. Okay. And then they keep scrolling. But because I paused for more than 3 seconds, Facebook says that's a view. It was not a view. It was not a view. By the way, it automatically starts to play in their feed. They didn't necessarily have any interest in what you were putting out there. It just automatically started to play. Whereas like you said on YouTube, they are there for one reason only, and that is to watch videos. So when I go live on Facebook, it's typically inside of a group. It is in a group where I already have a community and the people are all there gathered around a common interest. So you as a real estate agent could create a group that was like a farm area that you service. It could be, 10 reasons why Georgia is better than South Carolina. I don't know, whatever you would want to call your Facebook group. And you get these people into the group. Now, if you go live in there, you're going to have a much more engaged live stream about people who already know who you are. They're already in a community with you, and they're going to be much more likely to want to hear what you're talking about versus I just go live on my personal profile and everybody I know sees it. But then again, that's not true, because only, 8% or something of the people that follow you see any of your content at any particular time. I don't know. I much prefer going live on YouTube to try to reach people who actually cared what I was talking about. And if I'm going to go live on Facebook, it's almost always inside of a group.
I really love this idea of starting a group You know, as a real estate agent, you know, if you're a condo specialist in San Diego, you know, having this Facebook group called Condo Owners San Diego, you know, and it's a resource for condo owners. I mean, think about that. You've got this group of people that all at some point
Bought a
condo. Yeah. And certainly want to buy a condo at some point, and what that could turn into. Maybe you're a single family home gated community type of person. Well, hey, gated communities in Cincinnati or whatever, and you're sort of talking to that crowd, having that Facebook group there where you're driving YouTube viewers over to it. Well, I just love that idea and want to remind all of you to join us in our live video marketing mastermind Facebook group, where we do contests and giveaways and tips and microphone recommendations, and all sorts of fun stuff goes into that group. Karin, thanks so much for coming on the show and spending time. I know that you're super busy. When I called Karin and I asked her to be on the show, she was actually in the middle of chicken farming.
I totally was.
Right now.
And since I spoke to you that day, we bought 5 more chickens because I'm a sucker, and I go to Tractor Supply and go, oh, look at all the little tiny, oh, they're so cute. They're like 2 days old. We have to get some. And so, yes, now we have 11 chickens.
I love it. I love it. I love watching you too, sort of leverage the success you're having in your business to create the lifestyle that you want to lead. And I'm sure that there's others out there that can learn a ton from you. Karin, how do we find your channel? How do we follow you and see what's going on in your world?
YouTube.com/Karin Carr is my channel for agents, where we just talk about tips for using video to attract your ideal client to you so that you can stop buying leads, and hashtag friends don't let friends cold call. And youtube.com/Karin Carr Real Estate, or just search Georgia Coast Homes. You are welcome to watch the videos that we're making on that channel. Try to get some ideas for your own channel.
You will not regret it, everybody. Go check out Karin. Thanks so much for spending time with us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for asking, guys.
Well, I loved that bit about the Facebook group and having your own sort of Facebook group designed to serve your clients. And for those of you that are just tuning in now, or you want a quick recap, we're going to go over some of Karin's really big tips. Just kind of run through them. Number one, we talked about having a content strategy, knowing what it is you're going to talk about, market updates, buying or selling trends, home tours. I would think we've seen, my least favorite video is a market update. It's by far been the most successful video we've seen our clients sort of do.
Really is.
Second thing is purpose. Why are you going live? Are you trying to get people to join your Facebook group? Are you getting them to an open house? Are you trying to sell the actual house? Have a purpose with an associated call to action in that video. And then the next one, you want to grab that one?
Yeah, make it look professional. And there's easy ways. I mean, with the software that we're using right now, Restream software, you can make, you can have your branded logo put in there. You can have lower thirds that show like, the name of your guest or who you are, what area that you work in, when it comes to real estate, so that it looks professional and it's super easy. You're not having to make these things on your own.
Yeah.
And having to be like this tech expert. It is so user-friendly.
And if you want a one-stop solution for your live streaming, then visit epiclivevideo.com and get started with a free account at Livestream. Or if you already have a free account, then consider upgrading today and start using all these great tools. The next tip was make it fun. Have some contests, some giveaways, have fun guests on, do shticks, do the Air 5, whop, or something else.
Friends don't let friends cold call.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Have like sort of your bit that you do. And number 5?
Number 5, you can avoid the big tech problems.
Excuse me?
It totally sounded funny. By starting off simple, you don't need to get super fancy. You can start off with your phone. Even this software that we're using right now works great with phones. You can keep it simple there, have a simple light, a simple microphone. You don't need to get anything fancy that way. And then as you start getting more comfortable, you can, and if you want to level up, that's when you can do it. But just make sure that you're comfortable with those basics first. It's all you need.
That's right. And then finally, remember to pre-promote the show post promote the show, and then look at your views. Make sure that what you're doing is working. I know that we have fallen into this trap in the past where we're like sharing on LinkedIn and then we're making square videos and all these repurposing. None of that got us the nearly even close to the results as picking a great title and then having a solid thumbnail to go with it.
Yes.
So with that, we want to thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to tune in again next week as we're going to have more topics on how to grow a live stream show and really accomplish the business goals that you're setting out to accomplish this year. I'm Owen Video.
And I'm Teresa.
We will see you next time.